Solitary Witches, it's your girl Pandora here. Once again, I'm subbing in for Corvus, who is your usual Wednesday host. And this week our topic is Matron and Patron deities. So once again, this is a topic that relates back to another video that I've made on this channel. Last year sometime I made a video about my relationship with deities. So I'll link to that one below in case you haven't already watched it, because I talk a fair bit in that one about which deities I have relationships with. And tomorrow I will be uploading a video to my own personal channel about two new deities that I have been working with, and that is the Norse goddess Freya and the Norse god Odin. So stay tuned for that one if you watch me on my personal channel. But what I will say in this video is that I do have a very deity-based practice. I do work with matron and patron deities. However, I don't work so much with having a single matron goddess and a single patron god. There are numerous male and female deities that I work with. And I also want to really emphasize that within neo-paganism, the concept of a matron goddess and a patron god can sometimes seem a little bit heteronormative and gender essentialist, and I really want to emphasize that that is not the case for me. Even though I myself am straight and cisgendered, I very much believe in having an inclusive and respectful practice. Even though I'm solitary, I still work in relationship to others and with community. So it's really important for me to be respectful of other people and the way that they identify and their ideas about gender and that kind of thing. So I just really want to emphasize that for you guys. And it's been very interesting for me working with the Norse god Odin, because something that I'll talk about in my own video on my own channel is that he is a god that sort of bends gender roles. He works with Sidir craft, or the Norse magical craft, even though he is male, and even though in the Norse culture that was seen as something that was emasculating and that made him less male, he was the exception to that rule because he was the all-father and the king of all the gods. So he got away with that, and that was fine. So it's very interesting, and I do hope that you'll watch my channel, my video on my personal channel when I put it up tomorrow if you are interested. So I will do some altar tours in this video. I have done altar tours before on my own channel, but I've never actually shown a video of my personal altar before, except for on my Instagram page and things like that. I have a lot of altar pics on my Instagram page. So I will show you my two altars. And I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about some decks that I have, and I've just lost the lid for this one, but it's the Gods and Titans Oracle by Stacey DeMarco, and this one does not have a depiction of Odin, unfortunately, but that's the backing. This is the Australian edition that I have. I have the Australian edition of both of these decks, and so these can be really good decks to work with to help you try and get an idea of different deities that are out there. This book that comes with it is a very good, the guidebook that comes with is a very good resource about different deities. So purchasing this deck or getting a reading with this deck from another reader could be a good way to help you find a deity to work with. And I've heard of people getting readings with readers, and there was a reading that I did that I got from Kellyanne Maddox's YouTube channel that helped me find the goddess Lilith and start working with her. So that was really helpful for me. One thing I do want to emphasize is that I don't believe that a reader or another person can definitively tell you that a deity wants to work with you or that you are meant to work with a deity. I think it is absolutely up to you what resonates with you, and so it's up to you to make that choice. And I also have the Goddesses and Sirens deck, and this one's got some really nice goddesses in it as well. Some people criticize the artwork in this because it is a bit like you get really muscly males and really large-breasted females and things like that, and they are all very beautiful. But, whoops, and luckily for me, there is a depiction of Freya in this deck. I'm sorry if you can hear my kids. And it says irresistibility, and so it's talking about her sexuality and things like that. So I absolutely do resonate with that aspect of Freya, and that has been a very important part of her working with me, and this guidebook has been a really good resource for me. So what else did I want to say about matron and patron deities? So another thing that I wanted to say is that you absolutely do not have to work with a matron and a patron. The way that you relate to the divine within your practice is absolutely up to you. And you may find that you only work with God energy, or that you only work with goddess energy. And in my opinion, that's perfectly fine. I really want to emphasize that I think that the God is a strong male, and he is not going to be offended if you don't work with him outwardly, if you don't have a representation of him on your altar, and if you don't directly honor him in your practice. He is still always with you. The divine masculine is that spark within you that brings creativity and life and impregnation and the quickening and all of that good stuff. And I don't think that you necessarily have to work with him outwardly. To me, the sacred masculine is very much about combating toxic masculinity. And so I really don't think that you have to work with both a male and a female god necessarily if you don't want to. So that's the last thing that I wanted to say, and I will now show you my two altars. I have one altar in the downstairs part of my house, this one, which I will show you in a video, and that has got depictions of both gods and goddesses on it. There are two goddesses on there and two gods, and then I also have other, like I've got a Ganesha and a green Tara up here on my bookshelf, and a couple of other Ganeshas over here, and a Buddha, and I've got Kuan Yins all throughout my house. I love Kuan Yin, so I have a few depictions of her throughout my house. But upstairs I've got another altar which only has a depiction of a goddess on it. So I will show you that one in this video as well. And I hope that you have enjoyed this video. This is a tale of two altars. This is the altar that I have in the spare bedroom in the downstairs part of my house. So this room I use as a witchy room. I use it as an art studio and a study room and a spare bedroom for when people come to stay. And it also has my main witchy altar down here. So it's just on this bookshelf, and I'll do a room tour one day and probably a bookshelf tour after I do a bit of a book haul just quietly, because as you can see they're stacked to the max. But so I've got my matron and patron deities represented on this altar, and this is the Virgin de Guadalupe, which I have this candle with a picture of her on it, and I bought that from Earthly Alchemy, and I'll do an uploading video of that one, and I'll upload that to my own channel. And then I've got this beautiful little candle snuffer. I've got this bowl. This is a wooden bowl. I can't remember what type of wood it is, but I bought it at the markets in my parents' hometown. And I've got my runes there to honor Odin, and some shells and crystals, and this crow feather that was gifted to me by Aussie YouTuber Alvine Green. I do believe it's a crow. Alvine, please correct me if I'm wrong. But this is a picture of Odin that I purchased from Earthly Alchemy, and it's just in this plain wooden frame, and I probably will paint that silver. There is my statue of Cernunnos, and that is made by Anjan Australia. If you're in Australia, I would recommend purchasing that from Juniper Moon Apothecary. Probably other places have it too, but hers are quite affordable. This is a horseshoe that I found at my cousin's farm. I just found it one day and asked her if I could keep it, and she said yes. There's my Millennial Gaia. I absolutely love the Millennial Gaia, and I'm so happy to have her. I've had her for years now. I purchased her when I was in my early 20s. I've got just some shells and crystals, and these are crocodile bones that were gifted to me by Alvine. This is a little, like some type of pelvis bone. I think it's from a bird, but it could be from a wallaby. And I can't remember if my husband or myself found that, but we were out on a walk and one of us found it. There's another crocodile bone that goes with this one. They're from a crocodile skull, Alvine said. And this is my depiction of the Norse goddess Freya that was painted for me. Sorry, you can see me in there. Hello! So sorry about the glare there, but this is really beautiful. It was painted for me by Aussie artist Erin Duncan, and I commissioned that, and I will be putting a video up about Freya and Odin on my own channel. This is a little bowl that I made in pottery class. I so would love to go back to pottery class because it was fantastic, and it's in the shape of a leaf, so I actually used a leaf to press down and I made the bowl that way, and that's filled with various herbs and different bits of potpourri and different flowers and things like that. I've got this pine cone back here which I put on during the winter solstice, and it's just stayed there ever since because it feels right to keep it there. Now I've got this little candle that I bought from Dusk. It smells really beautiful. It's purple and it's got like a geranium scent. This is a little beeswax candle that was given to me by Willow Wild Moon. I haven't lit it yet. And there's a piece of boulder opal, which I love. Here's another mini cauldron, and this one came to me by way of somebody else who didn't need it anymore. And so yes, this is the same one that another witchy YouTuber who I know of through Instagram and stuff has, and she has the same one. So that's kind of cool as well. So Stacey, if you're watching this, hi! And there's another little beeswax candle on a mosaic candle holder. This is the first pentacle I ever made, and it's just a little cardboard box that I've painted and varnished with a pentagram on it. It's got some stuff inside, like some cords and jewelry and things, and it's actually got a triquetra on the bottom, but because I used silver paint and then I used a yellow coloured glaze, it looks a bit funny. But so I didn't use this for a long time, and then one day it just felt right to put it on my main altar again. I've bought other pentacles ever since. Like, as a witch you can never have too many pentacles, right? But yeah, and then this little mini chalice was given to me by Willow Wild Moon as well in one of our swaps. So that's very lovely. There's an orange candle, just in a little glass holder on this little dish. There's a clamshell with some sage and Palo Santo. Another one of the candles that I got from Willow Wild Moon. And the altar cloth itself is a batik sarong. So the last time I used it was during the spring equinox because it's got little flowers on it and it's pink, so I guess it'd be good for the spring and summertime, but it just feels right to have it on there now. And we are coming into Lammas here in Australia. So yes, as you can see, I do have deity representations on there. I have the divine masculine represented on the left and the divine feminine represented on the right. If for no other reason, then that's what certain books that I've read have recommended, so not really any other reason for that. So yeah, that is my main altar, and I hope that you have enjoyed this altar tour, and I'll show you my other altar now. So this is my beautiful upstairs altar in my bedroom in the upstairs part of the house. I do apologise if you can hear some traffic noise. I live on quite a busy street, and my bedroom where this altar is located is at the front part of the house, so it does get quite noisy sometimes. But anyway, I set this altar up as a visual reminder of myself, of my path, so it's really nice to have one in the upstairs part of my house instead of just downstairs. And I set it up to honour the summer solstice and the dark goddess that I have been working with lately. So it's summertime here in the southern hemisphere. I live in Australia, and I was really excited at the beginning of summer because I was like, yay, we're gonna go swimming and we're gonna go fishing. But now I'm just a little bit over the heat. But anyway, so the altar cloth is an old sarong, and it is yellow and pink and purple, and it's got this beautiful little sun on it, and there's a couple of these nice little cute suns. And I've got these brass dolphin candle holders. So there's one here. This one's been burned down a little bit more than this one, but they are a matching set. And this is my cauldron. This is the first cauldron that I ever bought. Sorry if you can't see it properly, but it's actually the same as the one that Avalon Cameron has, so that's kind of cool. And I fill it with little crushed up pumice rocks to put a charcoal block on to burn my incense. I just cleaned it the other day, so there's none in there currently. And this is a sun soy wax candle that I purchased from Juniper Moon Apothecary, and that's sitting on a lovely piece of petrified wood. I've got all of these little rose petals and bits of lavender and vervain scattered around the altar. I've got this feather, which is a cockatoo feather. So this is a sulfur crested cockatoo feather, and I think I found that at my uncle's farm. This is my labradorite palm stone. I like to hold that when I'm meditating because it fits nicely in my palm. This drum is just ornamental, but I do sometimes play it in ritual. This is a shell that I bought from a lady on a Facebook page, and she was an Indigenous lady who found these on her Indigenous land. And so I purchased them, a couple of them from her. One of them I gifted away, and I just use it to hold prayer beads in on my altar at the moment. So they're being kept there. I've got my singing bowl. This is very nice. The writing on it says Om Mani Padme Hum, and it's got a design in there. It's kind of like a yin yang, and then some Buddha eyes on the bottom. That's the price. I didn't pay that. It was half price. So, and then we've got my candle that I bought from Joey Morris, and a brass silver plated pentacle that sits on, a silver chalice, again brass coated, and this is my mini replica of the Burnie relief or Queen of Night relief, and I keep that on my altar to represent the dark goddess Lilith, who I work with. And I've got this lovely little piece of red jasper. It's quite nice to meditate with, a lovely peach moonstone, and my lovely piece of black tourmaline. This is one of my very favorite crystals to meditate with. And then we have this clamshell, which I keep Palo Santo and sage in. So there's a little burned out piece of sage. There's not very much of it left. And I love how it's right near this windowsill, so whoops, I can keep things on there as well. So I've got my mortar and pestle. This shell was gifted to me by the lovely Alvine Green. Some of you may know her. And then we've got this stone that I painted, a lovely spirit quartz cluster, my Crystal Visions tarot, and another piece of spirit quartz. These are some loose incense blends. This is from Juniper Moon Apothecary, and this one was bought from Joey Morris. So that's Temple of Lilith, Starry Eyed Smudge, and then the bottom one is just one that I made myself. And then we have another stone and another shell that I got from Alvine, and a Bic lighter. I just use the good old-fashioned Bic lighters. I find that they're the best things to light my candles and incense with. So, yes, it's my lovely altar. I hope that you have enjoyed this. It's very nice having this in the upstairs part of my home. It feels so good having an altar upstairs now where I can see it all the time and not just when I go downstairs. So yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed this altar tour and video about my matron and patron deity and my thoughts on deity. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time here on Starting Out Solitary.